3, and Jacob Bethel picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Mannarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now, we'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the Cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with Club Media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider of his Team Visma alongside 4-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour avant Rhône Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ojoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ojoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day 1 of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethel picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Mannarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now, we'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the Cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with Club Media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider of his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour avant the Rhône-Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to Rugby Union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ujoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethell picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Khan says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the Cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with Club Media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider of his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour avant the Rhône-Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to Rugby Union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ujoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethell picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with Club Media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, and midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider of his team Visma alongside 4-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour of Rhone Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ojoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ojoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents airily in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day 1 of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethell picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with Club Media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, and midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside 4-time Grand Tour winner
right wing, but he didn't, and he's not a right winger, and they need Johan Manzambi playing through the middle, so they brought Dan and Doyd back in, and I think that's the strongest they could be. Nouri back in the team for Algeria, hasn't had a great tournament, but they'll be hoping to dig in, so I expect this is going to be pretty tight, Luke.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. I think on paper these are actually two pretty tight sides. We know how good Switzerland can be, particularly at major tournaments. You know, they qualify for every single tournament. They tend to make it out of the group as well, and they tend to cause some teams some issues as well in the knockout phases. They'll be hoping against this Algeria side that they can take the win, and they can prove themselves to be decent competitors at this tournament outside of the group stage, where they impressed a number. So we'll have to wait and see. As for Algeria, you know, it almost feels like they are very often the underdogs when it comes to games, even in Africa, with the likes of Senegal and Morocco potentially being slightly stronger on paper. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. There's a weird history between these two. Obviously, Vladimir Petkovic, former Switzerland manager, was Switzerland manager for 7 years before departing for Bordeaux. The manager of Switzerland, Murat Yakin, was his immediate replacement, which you don't often see, a low managerial turnover, particularly in international football. But the Swiss, as the country is as a whole, quite diplomatic and clearly like to give their managers time. Both have been very, very successful as managers. Of course, Petkovic now Algeria manager, done very, very well at Algeria. But let's just see how this game goes. I'm intrigued, I think is probably the word.
Yeah, I like that, diplomatic. They famously held everybody's coats in the war, didn't they? Anyway, for a nation of just 10 million, they're punching out the Switzerland. And for Algeria, well, can they do something? The other thing I was going to mention is Zidane in goal. Had a terrible start to the tournament, and I just thought, well, there's no way he's going to get dropped. And he looks like a small player to me. He must have skill about him, and obviously he's Zinedine's son and all that, and plays a good level at Granada, but just he's not for me. So for Switzerland, if any of their pot shotters fancy a go today, I think there's a chance. Manzambi caught from behind. Referee ignores it. Yael Perez. Thought that was an absolute obvious free kick, not given. Elvedi goes back to his keeper, who allows the ball to come onto him a little bit more than I would have liked if I'm Corbell there. But anyway, he did manage to clear his lines. Algeria, albeit their midfield heavy, are not drifting back at the moment. They're playing full press, and good for them. We want to see a game, don't we? And there's no reason to make Switzerland world beaters. I can't. I do think they've got their best team out. I'm a massive fan of Manzambi, just as he gets beaten off the ball there. But I am, and he's a prodigious talent. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes, and I'm not really sure I've got the answers, Luke, so far.
No, I think you're right. I think it is just going to be a case of the longer this game goes on, the more clear it's going to be. Right now, it's obviously relatively even. We're 4 minutes into the game. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just going to be how the game plays on. The more I look at this Swiss side, the more I'm just so intrigued, because you've got some who you'd consider like nearly men throughout the squad. Zakaria showed great promise early in his career, never really quite hit the heights. Nico Elvedi has been linked with the move to the Premier League, I think, every year for 10 years now. He's still never managed to hit the heights that people expected of him. Ricardo Rodriguez feels like he's been around since Brazil 2014. It's never made the move to the top levels. Long ball sent over the top, looking towards Shaibi, is intercepted well by Kobol. Ruben Vargas you can throw in there, Breland Bolo, another. So there's a load who have been ever present in this Swiss side, but have never quite reached the top level to make you think, oh, Switzerland, they're a really, really good side. But I actually think, despite on paper it might not look like a team of world beaters, they've actually caught a deceptively very, very good side. Also the bench as well has got some real talent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Albeit he never plays Okafor. He doesn't like him. I don't even know why he's in the squad, because he's just not going to use him. Maybe today's his day.
Or maybe if it goes to penalties.
Yeah, maybe, but I doubt it. So far resisted his charms. Anyway, break down the right-hand side, opportunity then for Belgali. Was a good-looking ball to the box. Little step over there, and then just Awar. We're just waiting for him. He can't get his feet sorted. Ball coming from the right-hand side. Tries to hit it right foot. He's off balance. Doesn't quite make it stick. But that was a good little break, and it just showed there Switzerland had taken their eye off the prize for a second.
Yeah, they had. I mean, you expect better from Houssam Aouar. I'll be honest, it's a little bit disappointing from him. You're right, Switzerland had taken their eye off it. The only thing I would say is you can tell Riyad Mahrez is left-footed, because that was pretty well lined up for him to strike on his right boot, but he did not fancy it. Let it run to Houssam Aouar, who's far less prolific in front of goal than Riyad Mahrez, and ultimately unable to even get the ball travelling towards Gregor Kobel in the end. But the only two players here who play in the Saudi Pro League, Riyad Mahrez and Houssam Aouar, linking up on that occasion and unable to find the finish.
Yeah, you certainly don't begrudge Riyad Mahrez is walk off into the sunset, picking up money in Saudi for Al Atli. He was Algeria's best player in the 3-3 draw against Austria, and remains top man. Didn't start the tournament though, started off the bench I think, but anyway, must have been a niggle or something like that, because he is the captain for Algeria, who are on the ball now, playing out with Ben Sabeni, the Dortmund man. Finds Faris Chaibi. He plays his football in Frankfurt, and then back to the much already mentioned Zidane, who's had nothing to do just yet. They'll be hopeful that remains the same. You can see they've got a packed midfield, and it's getting them on the ball. So again, Nouri creeping forward. The other thing that can do is, if you've got two good full-backs, which they do, is that they can press them. It's almost like a 3 at the back, with a long ball now over the top, and well, they look like they're foul on Zarouki running through there. He got checked off. Doesn't look like referee Yael Perez wants to do anything today. He's having a leisurely stroll in the middle of the park, and there's been a couple of sort of half claims and that I thought were obvious free kicks he didn't give out. I'm not saying that was. I didn't think that was, but he wants a quiet start, the referee, I think.
Yeah, you can tell he's not one to get close to the action, is he? He seems to like to keep a bit of a gap. I'll break off because here come Algeria on the attack.
Yeah, they do. Awar down the left-hand side, then Chaibi back to Ryan Nouri, who's a Man City career. He found himself behind Nico O'Reilly, really.
No, that's no shame on Ryan Nouri, though, is it really?
No, he's a good youngster, isn't he? But you just assumed that being virtually almost Wolves' best player behind Cunha at times, and looking so good getting forward, that he'd see a bit more game time. But anyway, he found a good young'un that he has come up against. Anyway, now the ball with Nabil Bentaleb. 31 now. We'd seen a little bit of him in the Premier League at the time. Not too much, but I always thought he was a decent player. Now Mandi, one of plenty Lille players in this game. Bentaleb 2. As ball goes all the way back to Zidane into midfield. Chaibi had come deep. It's one of these. I expect them to show up pretty well. I think that they'll run out of puff, Algeria. I would fancy Switzerland to win this one. You mentioned that they've got a strong bench. They do. I think they've just got a little bit more know-how as well. I wonder, because Xhaka and Freuler keep rolling out and having to run marathons, just whether they can manage that, and they're up against virtually midfield 6 today, so that would be the worry, that they're a bit flat today. Other than that, I think Manzambi can pick up the game, and Mbola was great last time as well. Anyway, they're trying to get on the ball, but at the moment nothing doing. There's again Chaibi to drop deep for the ball. He finds a good ball, and yeah, good little step in by Belgali into Zerouki now. Plenty getting a touch. Bentaleb out to the left hand side, and Aouar. So really fluid movement from them. Chaibi on the ball, but he's giving it away, and that was a good pickup by Freuler, the Bologna man. And then Vargas cuts inside one, he finds Manzambi. Johan Manzambi now driving forward into the box. He goes, what can he do? Little step over, he's got round his man. Can he cut back? He does, and the ball's forced into the back of the net by Mbolo. And there we go, Switzerland roll round the back, and it's the brilliant Johan Manzambi who gets that ball to Mbolo for a simple tap-in. But it's all about the Freiburg man, Luke.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. It is absolutely box office from Manzambi, it really is. I think it's poor defending, but I'm not going to touch on that too much, because I just think it's absolutely fantastic from the Freiburg man. 20 years of age, and to be doing that in a World Cup knockout game is absolutely superb. Picks up the ball and says, you know what, I'm going and you won't stop me. And they didn't stop him, and take nothing away from the delivery either. Puts it on a plate for Mbolo, who is one of those strikers who, yeah, is pretty good on the ball, but his biggest asset is he is so good at getting goal side of a defender and punishing them. That's exactly what he does on that occasion. Manzambi getting a run at Isamondi. No player has played more football for Algeria than the Lille centre-half, and he just doesn't know what to do with Switzerland's number 9. Brilliant from Manzambi, lovely cutback and a good finish as well from Mbolo. I was just about to say, I was waiting to step into. I've been really shocked in the opening 10 minutes from Switzerland. I thought they controlled the ball with Xhaka and Freuler in midfield, but you can see why actually they're not as fussed about having the ball, because when you've got a player on the pitch like Johan Manzambi, you can play on the counter-attack and you can play the ball in behind, and that's exactly what they've done on this occasion. I love the celebration from Mbolo. You'd have thought he'd have gone off on the run, the Manzambi had done the way he'd celebrated, but you know what, I'm a big lover of celebrations, particularly at the World Cup, and rightly so. When you score in the World Cup knockouts, you go off and celebrate. Fantastic goal from a Switzerland point of view, all to do now for Algeria.
Absolutely, they're not set up for this, are they? I think it was to be tight, maybe try and nick one on the counter. Now they've got to do something a little bit different. To put into context then what Manzambi just did, he picks the ball near the halfway line. It was an alright ball that he got from Vargas. He had a lot to do, but he's having a run at Mandy, and he's got he gives him 5 yards, right? And he's in a good shape. What maybe he doesn't know, what I do, is that Manzambi's 2-footed. So you think you've got it covered off there. He thinks he's sending him round the long way. He's all right foot, so there's no chance he's going to get across. And he can. He's 2-footed, so he's dribbling out on his right, goes round him, and then he brings the ball back on his left. You know, the cutbacks with his left boot. Absolutely brilliant. There's a little shimmy in that just bought him that yard of space and got him on the run. A little sort of drag push that got him ahead of a good defender who was in good shape there. He was in a good position. But anyway, brilliant from him. And I think that somebody's going to break the bank. You know, with all due respect to Freiburg, you know, they're a decent team, but I think you might have a release clause as well. But somebody's going to break it. Somebody's going to break the bank for him. And it'll be one of the big clubs as well. But anyway, I've given him the big build-up, but it's like you see it, and it's not often I get excited about watching a individual player. Anyway, back to the game for Switzerland now. You know, sometimes getting what you wish could be a little bit of a downer, because if they decide now that they're just going to sit back, this could come unstuck. So maybe they've scored too soon. Anyway, we'll break off our edge of the box now. We're looking for it, and his strike is tame. He'd got Zerouki running through again. It would have been it was difficult because he was running straight, but maybe he should have done something better than that. Anyway, it's a poor shot.
I will say it's something to keep an eye on, these runs from Zerouki. We thought that Algeria were just going to sit deep, and I know Bentaleb is sitting in between Aouar and Zerouki, but Zerouki is making some really great long busting runs late into the penalty area, but unfortunately Xhaka and Freuler are just not picking him up. So I think that's something to keep an eye on as Dan Ndoye tries to get away from Aït-Nouri. Brilliant defending from the fullback. That's excellent from Rayan Aït-Nouri. Big fan of Dan Ndoye, I really am. I think he's been massively underutilised by Nottingham Forest, not helped by the resurgence of Callum Hudson-Odoi and Morgan Gibbs-White, another two players who I'm a big fan of. But I do think at 25 years old we are yet to see the best of Dan Ndoye in a Nottingham Forest shirt, and I'm glad he's getting the start this evening. I think that entire front four I enjoy watching. Bril Mbolo has obviously been a player who's shown huge promise for years now, despite the fact he's now 29. You told me enough about Manzambi for me to see how exciting he is, and then Vargas is always great to watch on the international stage as well.
Here's Manzambi again, he floats the ball in, the chance for Ndoye, his first touch is heavy, the ball back across from Remo Freuler, then an effort comes in and just falling over himself there. Well, who is that with the last shot?
I think it's Dennis Zakari who got the final effort.
What's he doing up there? I mean, honestly, right back there, centre forward, Manzambi gone down there, but nobody bothered about that. The Swiss want the play to stop, but there's no reason for Algeria to do that. The referee, though, lets them put the ball out, and then we're going to see Manzambi get sorted out. Hopefully, he looks in a spot of bother there. I don't know what happened to him. We're looking at Dennis Zakaria now. In that last attack, how many Swiss bodies were forward? A real stack of them. I guess if Zakaria, they're used to playing in midfield, had drifted into his normal position. When the ball comes to him, he's fetching back a bit, isn't he? And he can't get what he wants out of that. But again, what a brilliant ball from Manzambi across. But for Dan Ndoye controlling it a little bit better, that would have been a better opportunity.
Yeah, it would have been. I still think it is a decent opportunity. To tell you what happens, Ruben Vargas gets in the way of Dennis Zakaria, or Dennis Zakaria gets in the way of Ruben Vargas. Either way, they make it difficult for each other. I'm really hoping what we're seeing is what the issue here is for Manzambi, and it looks like that is the case. When he went down, he was holding onto his stomach. I always think, oh, that's really odd. How on earth does a player end up with such pain in their stomach? But it's just the ball's been kicked against him. I mean, credit to, it's a really odd one, because he kept running and kept playing as if to say, well, there's nothing wrong, and then as the chance went, he hit the deck. So I think if I'm Algeria, I'm a little bit annoyed with the 20-year-old that they've had to stop playing, stop an attack, because Manzambi's had the ball kicked into his stomach. But you know, at the end of the day, it looked for a moment that he was in an awful lot of discomfort, and yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, now I can understand the frustration from Algeria.
Yeah, sort of. He did want to keep playing then, because clearly he was in a lot of discomfort there, and I don't think he was trying to fool anybody. But maybe I'm got me rosy-coloured specs on in his regard. Anyway, I'm a big fan. Rayan Aït-Nouri now on the ball. He goes back then, and they've got to build again. Ben Sebaini, Mandi, and the ball out to Belgali. Zerouki on his inside. He bursts past him. Belgali back on his outer. Then Zerouki does pick it up. He has Mahrez ahead of him, and they just try to get something going. Chaibi, Aouar were in the middle. Ball breaks then to Ben Sebaini again. He's driving forward. The Swiss have been pushed back just the edge of their own box now with Rayan Aït-Nouri. And a brilliant turn of pace from him. He's got past Zakaria into the box. He goes. He can't get the ball away. Just another man, Remo Freuler, I think it was, who'd just come to block him off now. Maybe a chance a shot comes into the box, and eventually Elvedi will just thump it clear. Brilliant stuff then. They've got a problem at right back. I said that Zakaria is probably a better option than Xhaka, who was terrible, I thought, last time around. But Zakaria is not a fullback, and you can see that. And Rayan Aït-Nouri just beat him too easily there. I think when you've got that instinct of a midfielder, it's like you push all in a lot. You know, you always expect there's somebody behind you. Then you realise with a fullback there isn't. You know. Yeah,
you're absolutely spot on. Too many times he's been caught square already, and that turn of pace from Aït-Nouri, it's a simple thing. He does it very, very effectively, but it's something that you'd expect a lot of players at this level to be able to do, and recognise that's what they need to do when their defender, who they're one-on-one with, is caught too square. I do think though, you might look at that as, oh, that's a terrible pass back from Granit Xhaka. Gregor Kobel recovers well to clear long. He's not having a good game at all, Xhaka, so far this evening. I've got my thoughts on him at the moment, but we'll get to that later on. But I think a problem for Algeria at the moment is, I know he skips away from his man, he gets his head up, and yeah, there's bodies inside the penalty, but it's Mahrez, it's Zarouki, it's Aouar. I think they're missing Amin Gouiri. I really do. I think they're missing a striker who is in the penalty area saying, get the ball to me inside the box, give me the ball. Ibrahim Mazza's not called Mazzadonna for no reason by the Algerian fans, but he's not a player who's going to get into the box and scream at Nuri, be like, you should get the ball to me. He's the type of player who'll hang on the edge of the box and hope he can get a ball chipped to him at the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, I think I saw Morocco play a similar formation against Brazil. Saibari, wasn't it, asked to do the job.
But he's a real player, Ismail Saibari.
Yeah, Massa has to do the same job as Saibari in a sense. You know, it means that they really are competitive in midfield. We're looking at that ball from Granit Xhaka again. Like I said, you get to a certain age, and rolling out a game every 4 days, I think, takes its toll, you know.
Do you know what else will take its toll? Trying to get a move away from a football club in the middle of an international tournament, that will probably also take its toll. I think I cannot believe the amount of players we have seen at this World Cup already. Surely Dennis Zakari has fouled there from the side. In fact, I think he's run that out for a throw, has he? Yeah, he has. I cannot believe the amount of players we've seen during this World Cup either complete transfers or been heavily linked with a move away from their football clubs. These World Cups roll around once every 4 years. To have your mind distracted about club football while you're representing your country at a World Cup, I think it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. As much as I love Ismail Saibari, I think it's embarrassing that he's secured a move to Bayern Munich while the World Cup's going on. Then the same thing with Elliot Anderson at Manchester City. Then the fact that Granit Xhaka is trying to force a move to Chelsea in the middle of an international tournament is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. To be honest, I think there's a lot of football clubs who and a lot of international managers who will be very unhappy with their players for doing things like that, because your head's not on the situation at hand, which is the World Cup, the biggest tournament in football.
Yeah, things have changed. Players have more power now, don't they? Alvedi goes on a little run. It all used to be done after, didn't it? And certainly not in the middle of a tournament. There'd always be plenty of talk. You can't ever stop the papers, can you? Or players' agents doing this and that. But deals getting done while the tournament's going on is a bit weird. Anyway, Rodriguez now puts the cross in. It's taking the deflection. That will go out for a corner kick. Another opportunity then for the Swiss maybe to grab a second goal before the hydration break. That would stand them in good stead. They've played well so far. I fancied Switzerland slightly, the way the game had started and the way that Algeria made it strong in midfield. I just thought it could be one of those games, but I think it could end up being a vital goal. But anyway, we've at least got one goal, and I guess that when you open the scoring early, there's probably more to come, as Rodriguez's ball is headed away at the near post. Not quite good enough from him. But the red shirts have it back. They were in their red shirts against Canada, who were forced into their white kit last time out. They're another Red Devils team.
Like Belgium as well, aren't they? They're the Red Devils.
Yeah, they are. And of course, Switzerland, also known as the A team, which I quite like.
That's good. I like that.
And Algeria are the Phoenix, so that's the Fennec Fox, isn't it? Desert Fox. And at the moment, the Phoenix need to do just a little bit more, don't they? They've not really troubled Gregor Kobel, but that's not to say that they can't. Switzerland have a lead, and we can give all the plaudits to Manzambi we want, but the game's not done just yet. A long ball forward this time, and again, they've got willing runners in there, but it was Chaibi this time as Mazza tries to close down. Akanyu gets on a run. He finds Vargas, who'd come a little bit deeper. Rodriguez, who's unattached at the moment. He has a little run. I think he's played well this tournament. Just reminds me what I know about him is that I always think he's a good player. Simple enough. He won't be unattached for long, will he? Granit Xhaka then. Ball out to the left-hand side. Look at Manzambi. The other thing about Manzambi is he two-footed, right? But he's a marathon runner, and he will keep showing for the ball. And even in a game where he's making mistakes and his passes aren't working, he keeps showing. You know, Zakaria makes a break down the right, and his effort blocked away by Nuri. At the expense of a corner or a throw, just a throw, I think. Anyway, Zakaria's going to leave that. And I think Ndoye's got a long throw, so they may want to utilise that. And he drives the ball on his shirt. That's telltale. And then he takes it short. So
foul throw.
Yeah, with a foul throw, which fooled me. Manzambi on the ball now, just chops it. He keep going on about him. Rodriguez's shot, but that's dragged well wide in the end. He's such a good passer of the ball at Manzambi with both feet. He flicks it with his outstep here and there. He plays a lot of first-time ball. Incredible. He's been the difference, because we're about to go for a hydration break. I'm pretty sure of it. And for me, Manzambi, we gave him the big build-up, and this boy doesn't disappoint, because he was red hot for the goal. We have gone to a hydration break now. He's the difference maker. Mbola getting goal side, managed to tap in, but having gotten the position he was in, me and you would have tapped in Luke, but it was the first half for me all about Manzambi.
Yeah, I think he's been the standout performer so far. It's been a relatively tame first period of the game, which I suppose we kind of expected given the nature of these two sides. But yeah, quality, standout moment of quality from Manzambi, currently separating the two. We need more from Algeria, we really do. Barely seen Mahrez with a kick, Chaibi or Mazza for that fact. The entire front three struggling to get involved. I'd like to see a bit more of Belgali over on the far side. We can get Aitnouri and Belgali bombing down the line, giving both Rodriguez and Zakaria something to think about. Then we could see something happen for Algeria. Wouldn't necessarily mind seeing Bentaleb sit between the two centre halves if it meant that the fullbacks could bomb forward. There's not a huge amount Bentaleb can offer at 31 years of age in the final third, but it's all about how much does Vladimir Petkovic want to risk against his former side at this stage of the game. How happy is he to commit players forward at this stage, and how long is he willing to leave it before he makes changes, bringing on the likes of Amin Gouiri, who we know is a real top quality player. And put it this way, I was very, very shocked to see him not starting this evening. As the camera has very much lingered on Briel and Bolo, who much like Switzerland themselves has been a tournament favourite for a number of years now. I look at the majority of this Switzerland squad, and quite a few of them I remember from the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. It's probably the first time I got to see Ricardo Rodriguez play football when he was at Wolfsburg. Granit Xhaka, it was the first time I got to see him play, and Bolo, another one who was merely a teenager at the time, playing in Brazil. I think I'm not quite sure Zakaria was quite ready for that tournament, but yeah, it's an experienced side, and I think we're just heading out the hydration break, so we'll get back underway, and hopefully things have picked up a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Just saw Riyad Mahrez deep in conversation with Vladimir Petkovic. They weren't agreeing about things, and I think Mahrez was trying to explain too up top that kind of thing. At least he had two fingers, so unless he was being unbelievably rude, I believe he was asking for a formation change or something like that. But it's up to Algeria to try and sort it out. And you'd listen to your captain, because he's bags of experience. Talking about experience, Granit Xhaka is 150th cap today. Anyway, the game will recommence, and it's going to be Luke now to take us through to half time.
Yeah, cheers, John. Thank you very much. Going to get underway with a Lucas Zidane goal kick, coming off the back of a relatively disappointing season with Granada in the Segunda division in Spain. He's had a pretty disappointing tournament so far. The 28-year-old was of course dropped for that 3-3 draw against Austria, but brought back into the side this evening in place of Oussama Benbot. It's interesting, both goalkeepers who have featured for Algeria at this tournament so far haven't got the number 1 shirt. That pleasure falls the way of Melvin Mestil, who was yet to get on the field for Algeria this tournament.
and they've all just got a handful of caps, haven't they? So they don't.
It's known that they've got goalkeeping problems, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't really trust any of them, do they? To be honest, and there's a reason for that, because none of them seem to be trustworthy, do they? I don't know about the number one, but the other two guys disappointing. Nothing this time that Zidane could do with that goal, though.
No. Yeah, as you said, I think if we'd both got in the position that Breel and Bolo was in, we'd both could have scored from there, which tells you how unsavable it probably was for Lucas Zidane. Melvin Mistel, by the way, plays his football in Switzerland with Lausanne. So again, a bit of a connection between these two. As ball just being played along halfway now by Algeria. Here it is now in midfield with Nabil Bentaleb. It's really great to see him playing at the World Cup. He had a really serious heart issue about a year or so ago with Lille. Spent almost a year out of football, having collapsed during training. So the fact that he's starting at a World Cup really is quite fantastic to see. And he's had a really decent time of things with Lille as well. Finished third in Liga in the season.
Didn't something similar happen with Elvedi, or did I make that up? Didn't he have a heart do as well?
Quite possibly. Not that I know of off the top of my head, but quite possibly. Certainly a very accomplished centre-half in the Bundesliga with Borussia Mönchengladbach, as Dan and Doyle does a brilliant bit of defending there. Sent the ball away from Ray Nuri. He'll drive down this near side. Was he fouled inside his own half by the Manchester City fullback? Referee says yes. Nuri wags his finger. That's excellent from Dan and Doyle to brilliantly well tip the ball away from Nuri and then drove down the near side away from the full-back, and yeah, I think correct decision from the referee. Just leaned on him a little bit too much there, and rightly so. Free kick given, taken quickly by Zakaria back to Elvedi into Manuel Akanji. Under a bit of pressure here from Ibrahim Mazza, who himself plays his football in Germany with Bayer Leverkusen. Ball back at the feet of Gregor Kobel. Into Freuler, back to Kobel once more, who will look for Zakaria down the near side. He's just kept that ball in, and I tell you what, has he forced Nuri into giving a throw away? Yes, he has. Brilliant from Dennis Zakaria, who showed great pace down the near side, the 29-year-old, and gets his side back into a forward position, although very quickly they're back at halfway. Throw from Dan and Doyle back to Freuler, back to Elvedi, and across now to Akanji. Further wide onto the far side for Rodriguez, down the line for Vargas. He narrowly avoided relegation with Sevilla this season, but a decent bit of form towards the end of the campaign. Saw them actually reach mid-table, which shows you how tight it was towards the bottom half in La Liga. There's Vargas now driving towards the penalty, away from one, away from two. Lovely skill to get away from a third. Still going here, Ruben Vargas. Oh, just did a little bit too much. Eventually, Isomondi can get a challenge in and poke the ball away. Brilliant skill from Ruben Vargas on the far side. We know that's what he's capable of. And in the end, as I said, just a little bit too much. Saw the challenge come in from Mondi. And the ball cleared away. It's the danger over on that far side at the minute for Algeria. Here they come again. It's with Manzambi, who can't quite skip away from Nabil Bentaleb on this occasion. And then that'll be a foul for the challenge on Belgali. But it's whenever Manzambi gets a crossover on that side and links up with Vargas, that's where the problem is for Algeria. They couldn't get the ball off of Vargas.
Well, we know the Swiss like to ski. We just saw Vargas there absolutely slaloming, didn't we? And in the end, he went through too many gates.
He did.
I think. But the other thing was that they all ran away to the far post. And you're thinking, well, with all the will in the world, I think if somebody goes near post from there, he's only going to be able to scrape that ball in. He was never balanced. So I think that maybe the strikers didn't help him out there. And then Manzambi tried something similar. So they're making ground down there. Belgali be thinking, I could do with a little bit of help. But of course, Maris is only going to work back so many times for him. If they've got six in midfield, which they kind of do, then the old man Maris is not going to keep chasing back, which is putting Belgali under a little bit of pressure, to be honest with you. So maybe that's where the Swiss attack is going, and that's the reason why. Yeah, quite possibly. As we just see there, a replay of Nuri's foul on Dan and Doyle from a moment ago as he went through the back of him with the ball in the air. Going back to your point about them all going to the back post, that's definitely been an instruction. I look at that sort of left-hand side of the Algeria defence, obviously the right-hand side for Switzerland.
Ben Sabani, a fullback by trade, is not brilliant in the air. I know he's quite tall, but he's not great in the air because he's so often been deployed as a fullback. And Ait Nuri, we know he's absolutely not great in the air because we've seen time and time again he has been caught at the back post in his time at Wolves and Manchester City. So definitely an instruction, you'd imagine, from Switzerland manager Murat Yakin, but on that occasion just not quite working out, and in the end the little bit of pressure that was building has been eventually dealt with by Algeria. Ball out of play on this near side.
I'll tell you what, Luke, I was looking to see about El Vedi. I seem to remember something about maybe it's a heart condition. I must have made that up, but what I had a quick look at him online when I was looking at that, and he'd been linked to Leeds United, so he's another one who could be on his way. You know?
As I've said, every single year for potentially the last 10 years, Nico Elvedi has been linked with a Premier League club. For years, it's been Liverpool. For years until Jurgen Klopp left, every single summer, Elvedi went to Liverpool.
He's 30 now. This is the kind of last chance saloon for that to happen, isn't it? He looks a decent player, and of course, Leeds had just let go of Pascal Struijk, because he'd only a year left of his contract. I think that's the reason why, but they need to replace him.
He's always been very, very good on the ball. Borussia Mönchengladbach have always been a half-decent footballing side. They haven't necessarily been given the plaudits across Europe that they've maybe deserved because they've not been able to do something like Bayer Leverkusen did under Xabi Alonso, but always a very decent footballing side. Rami Ben Sabani, a former teammate of Nico Elvedi, of course, where he was at Borussia Mönchengladbach. I'll break off because Manzambi's made a really good run through midfield once again. He's trying to skip away on the far side to get away from Scheibe. He's been fouled by the Frankfurt man. That's going to be a free kick and a yellow card. They've got some problems at the minute, Algeria, because every time that young man gets a hold of the ball, they're having to backpedal, and they just don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, he just beats him all ends up because he's two-footed. And you just know, is he going to come on your other side? Is he going to burst past you? He's quicker than you. He's two-footed, and he's got a cut, and he can cut either way. And you just think, well, what do I do? And Scheibe's outgunned. He's outgunned, you know. And he just forced to bring him down. But honestly, I make him sound like the second coming or something, but he's such a good footballer, and we like watching good footballers, don't we? You know, somebody's in control of what they're doing, who's exciting to watch. He's all those things.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I feel a little bit for Scheibe because I don't think he knows where he's meant to be on the pitch. I really don't. He just seems to be popping up in areas, but he's always 5 yards behind the pace of play. And they've got this wrong, Algeria, and I think they can get through to half-time at 1-0. They'll still be within a chance because they can change things at the interval. 2-0, they're in big trouble, but they've got a bit of defending to do now. Ricardo Rodriguez born to the box, players hit the deck, eventually the header comes in, and it's wide of the post from Dennis Zakaria, who can't believe he's missed. Akanji not overly happy. He's telling the referee he should have been watching. Let's have a look from the replay. Belgali is scrambling with it. I'm telling you what, if it was a penalty earlier on in the game between Croatia and Portugal, that's a penalty as well.
He's pulling shots off there. I mean, Belgali's overmatched by a stronger man.
That's a penalty then.
But then it's like he's tackling him, like he's wrestling him to the ground. It's like he ankle taps him because he's got past him. You know, you can't. That's no way to play football. And then we're looking for consistency. Again, the ball's nowhere near him, so it's almost like, well, that doesn't matter. But in the penalty we saw for Portugal, you know, the ball was almost incidental as well. It's somebody stopping somebody getting to the ball. Anyway, I think that's something else that needs to be looked at by the powers that be.
I would like to say I don't think either are penalties, but if the first one's a penalty, then the second one is as well. And I think that's really poor that that's not been given if they're going to give that one for Portugal earlier on. Manzambi coming forward once again on this occasion. His pass is poor, and in the end, play breaks down. Switzerland almost then created something on the edge of the penalty area, but again, the chance breaks down. Now there's a foul in the middle of the park. Zakaria, it is, that's brought Houssem Aouar down. Well, he's not happy, the midfielder.
That could have been a yellow card.
It should have been.
They're breaking away there. Zakaria knows that, and he's gone all in again. He's just thinking, well, stop that. Referee don't really want to give a card to anybody, does he? He
has to give one to Scheibe, but other than that, you're right. He's kept his his cards in his pocket, and I said earlier on, he's not a mover, the referee. Doesn't like to get involved in the action. A little bit like when you've got that Sunday League referee, doesn't like to leave the centre circle. I tell you what, Yael Perez is not moving a huge amount more than that. He's going to have to move quickly here, though, because Switzerland on a pretty fast-paced attack with Ruben Vargas far side. He's been held up well by Mahrez, and on this occasion is back doing defensive duties. Xhaka now into Rodriguez. He'll go back to Akanji. Now here it is with Nico Alvedi. Will float a right-footed ball looking towards Mbolo. Good header away by Ben Sabini. Still the chances there though. Look, all the space here for Dan and Doy down the near side. Right-footed ball. Mbolo with a strike. Crucial block in there from Issa Mundi. He feels like there was a foul on him and his shirt was being pulled by Mbolo. It didn't look like there was a case. Tell you what it looked like to me. Ryan Aït-Nouri's got an absolute walkabout, and there's all sorts of space for Dan and Doy down the near side.
Yeah, where's he gone? You think that you've got everything covered off because you've got 6 midfielders and a back 4, but that doesn't mean to say you can just wander off and expect somebody else to do it. I think they're a red hot mess, just like you said. There's so many bodies, but it's like they don't know where they're supposed to be, you know.
Yeah, chasing shadows at the moment. Algeria, they've got to hold on till half time. Corner swung in towards the near post, is headed away well by Bentaleb, headed back in towards the danger area by Granit Xhaka, but it's flat and easily cleared away by Aouar. Then the second header on halfway is headed up by Freuler, flicked on by Akanji, then by Alvedi, gathered though in midfield by Belgali, and eventually it's Zerouki of Feyenoord who can get Algeria back under control. Bentaleb now floats a ball to the far side, feeds Mahrez. He's got a chance to run forward, doesn't fancy it. In the end, we'll go back to Zerouki on halfway. Bentaleb now, ball forward is a decent one. Mazza into Aouar. Again, he can move the ball forward, and he does this time. Feeds Mahrez. Again, will go backwards. Really doesn't fancy a run at Ruben Vargas. Riyad Mahrez over on the far side, which surprises me. Floats the ball back towards Mahrez. It's not a bad one, headed out for a corner by Ricardo Rodriguez. And out of play over on the far side. Good bit of defending there from the former Wolfsburg man, who recognised the danger and nodded out of play. See a replay of it now. It's a lovely floated ball from Rami Bensebaini. And it's a really important header from Rodriguez.
Yeah, because you know what, if Mahrez had been quiet today, then you know that he just needs to be good once. He can pull a rabbit out of a hat, that guy, and that's what he's there for. A brilliant player who has won the Premier League title, not with one but with 2 clubs, and obviously with Leicester City, that's almost like a miracle now when you consider what's happened to them since. But Mahrez absolutely pivotal in that, and then of course he's got himself a couple of good moves off the back of that.
Yeah, Nabil Bentaleb was just caught in the penalty area there as that corner was cleared away by Ricardo Rodriguez. Just sticks an arm out, but it's more towards the rib cage of Bentaleb, who was in a bit of discomfort for a moment. In the end, though, nothing given, and because the corner was cleared away, play continued. Switzerland have got a throw on the near side. Former Schalke and Tottenham Hotspur man, of course, Nabil Bentaleb. So those familiar with the Premier League and the Bundesliga, very familiar with him. And as I said earlier on, having a decent spell at the minute with Lille over in France in Ligue 1. Zakaria trying to nod into midfield. Eventually he'll be gathered by Akanji. Rodriguez turns it around the corner brilliantly for Manzambi. Oh, loose touch allows the challenge to come in from Belgani. That's a little bit of the immaturity, isn't it, from Manzambi? Always trying to be really direct. He'd have probably just been better slowing the pace down and taking a moment.
Or not. I just think you've got to allow him that. When he gets that right driving forward like that, he's pushing them all back. As soon as you go backwards, then defensive lines get set. Here come Algeria. An opportunity for Chaibi, and his shot straight down them. He just never got hold of that, did he? And that's an easy save for Kobel.
Probably first half chance of the game, you'd say, for Algeria. Lovely bit of play from Aouar on this near side, who plays a nice pass into Chaibi. Probably should have laid it back off to Houssem Aouar, who I had down as a centre midfielder, is now playing on the left-hand side of midfield, which is odd for a player with not much pace, but he's very, very technical. Aouar, always tipped for top-level football, never really progressed from his early spell at Lyon. Went to Roma, didn't work out for him there, and moved now to Saudi Arabia with Al Ittihad, where I'm sure he's earning a pretty penny, shall we say, and probably a decent life out there in Saudi Arabia, you'd have to say. But right now he's finding things difficult on this near side, although here he is now looking to try and turn away from Remo Freuler, who's similar to Ricardo Rodriguez, who's currently without a club in the month of July. That's a decent ball into Ibrahim Mazza, away from a couple, and does well to feed Chivy on the near side. Chivy into Ait Nouri, now to Mazza, Alwar, chip ball towards the back post. Mahrez trying to keep it in, just on the stretch, couldn't quite do enough with his right boot to poke it back in towards the danger zone. It'll just scurry out of play for a goal kick. Better though from Algeria, who I'd say the last couple of minutes are starting to look a little bit more threatening.
Yeah, and in the end, that ball just flighted a little bit too long. It looked a dangerous ball, didn't it? And in the end, I think it was Belgali just couldn't quite get there. But signs of promise. I can't make Switzerland world beaters. I keep going and banging on about Manzambi. I've been watching him a lot. Right, here's my caveat to his brilliance. He doesn't seem to want to defend. He's very lackadaisical in that respect. I think since he played his part in the goal, you can see sort of striding around a bit like he's too cool to put the work in for his teammates. So clearly with everybody, and particularly young fellas, there's always something that to be worked upon. And I would just say maybe his attitude in terms of his defensive quality needs to be looked at. Obviously, he's going to get paid the big bucks for what he can do going forward, which is what he's done in this game, which separates the two teams. The assist for Mbolo's goal was brilliant. But yeah, I've just been watching him and just seen the other side of it, which I don't like so much.
I was waiting for the caveat with Johan Manzambi. I thought it was maybe a little bit too good to be true, and you are right. Defensive duties just aren't quite there at the moment, or the acknowledgement of his defensive responsibilities not quite there at the moment for the 20-year-old. But I'm sure that will come with some decent coaching later on.
Do you know what? It sort of reminds me of Madison talking about Leicester City and all that, but. I thought that he was a brilliant player to start with and did all the stuff. Didn't want to go back. The fans got on his back a little bit, and then he decided to pull his socks up and be as good defensively as he was going forward. And then of course he got injured. But Madison has had that rocky road where at one point he didn't look like he was bothered, for the team's sake, because he liked attacking that much. 4
minutes added on at the end of this first half. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Switzerland 1, Algeria 0. Played about a minute of those 4 added on. There's a bit of a chase on here for Lucas Zidane. Under pressure from Briel and Mbolo. It was a long ball sent forward. And Zidane will get there first. Akanji, though, will just nod it down to Ricardo Rodriguez, who floats the ball down the line back towards Mbolo. Gathered, though, by Xhaka after the clearance from Mondi. Rodriguez now, ball forward, looking towards Mbolo. He looks for a flick onto the far side for Ruben Vargas. The pass is overhit, though. Play will continue with Algeria now after the throw. Mazza trying to get away from Xhaka. It's laid off to Riyad Mahrez. Held up well. Go back to Belgali. Mahrez now floats the ball into midfield for Ben Sabaini. He's been allowed to step deep into Swiss territory towards the end of this first half. Ait Nouri back to Ben Sabaini. Wanted a run in behind for the chip ball over the top, didn't get it, so went square to Mondi instead. Down the line to Riyad Mahrez. Back now for Belgali. He plays his football in Italy with Hellas Verona. Mahrez now once more. That's a decent left-footed ball in, and nobody in an Algerian shirt wanted to get a hold of it until it fell to Ibrahim Mazza. His strike towards goal wide of the post. That just looked like there was 3 white shirts inside the penalty area queuing up for that ball in from Mahrez, and all 3 of them just looked panicked as the ball came in.
Yeah, and in fact, the 4 white shirts in the box, I was counting them there, just thinking, yeah, the numbers are there, but then you need to be ruthless when you're in there. That's what you get paid for, the money shot, which is a striker. Don't get me wrong, plenty of midfielders have scored goals throughout the years. Football's littered with the Lampards and Gerrards of this world. But it's the money shot, isn't it? And usually that's the man who's the number 9 who is paid the big bucks to put the ball back on it. And Mazza there just took his half the prize, and maybe his own teammate got in his way. But you've got to be focused.
Yeah, you do. There'll be questions asked of Algeria's manager Vladimir Petkovic if they don't get through in this game, with Amin Gouiri of Marseille currently sat on the bench. You get the feeling he could probably offer a little bit more in the penalty area than what Ibrahim Mazza is doing at the moment. As big of a fan as I am of Mazza, and as many people are, hence the nickname Mazzadonna, he's not a striker. That is the difference. As here it is now with Manzambi trying to drive down the near side. Challenge comes in. Ball played off of the 20-year-old, and it's bounced out of play for an Algeria throw-in on the near side. Taken into midfield. Mazza trying to get it under control. Eventually Ait Nouri will hook clear towards halfway, where Akanji will play forward. Manzambi's gone down under the challenge. Play will continue though with the Freiburg man still left stricken. Not long to go until half time, so you'd imagine we'll just see the clock tick out as Akanji gets the ball off of his goalkeeper Gregor Kobel. And he'll go back to the Swiss number one before the referee does blow for half time. And relatively tame first half, but one that's seen Switzerland take the lead through Briel Donald Mbolo. Goal after 10 minutes, which was beautifully set up by Johan Manzambi, who skipped past a couple before squaring it across to the Stade Rennais man. Half time in Vancouver. It's Switzerland 1, Algeria 0.
It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Mbolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland that won, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel end ball on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back. Fabriel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been disappointed, playing without a striker, trying to block out the midfield, and really worked for them. Switzerland have scored one good goal. Johan Manzambi, architect of that. Vargas gave him a little ball. He went on a slaloming run, got to the byline, pulled the ball back for Briel Embolo on 10 minutes to force the ball home from close range. It's half-time in Vancouver. It is Switzerland at 1, Algeria 0. The Phoenix have been... Right, we're back, and they literally just kicked off at Switzerland. So Embolo goes back, and Kanyi's on it, and then Elvedi, and then Zakaria. I don't think a change has been made. If you're Switzerland, you wouldn't. If you're Algeria, you might. So I'll try and have a scan. Doesn't look like anything's changed out there that I can see. Anyway, Rodriguez giving the ball away, but that was only momentarily. Yeah, the Massa there didn't have it for too long. There's a ball into the box here, but well defended. And then they've given it back, and the ball whipped across, eventually cleared away, and then the shot comes in, and it's been thumped in, and it's Dan Undoy. Well, they didn't clear their lines. They keep saying cleared it, cleared it to nobody, cleared it again, cleared it to nobody, and eventually you're going to pay. Dan Undoy made them pay. A right foot strike. That's 2-0.
I hate to say it, John, it might also be game over as well. Algeria didn't look at scoring in that first half, never mind two. And I've said time and time again over the last couple of years, it's the worst time to concede outside of the last kick of the game, right after half-time. Yes, you've got the hydration break, but just as you've come out and your manager's giving you final instructions to concede straight away, it's an absolute disaster for Algeria, who've been really poor so far in this game. Minute into the second half, Dan Undoy with the goal, so you can see how much it means to the 25-year-old. It's a mess from Algeria, it really is. They've got how many opportunities to clear the ball away, and they just cannot get it away from danger. And in the end, you find Dan Undoy, who is one of the more clinical finishers in this Switzerland side, and that is a brilliant finish into the bottom corner. Again, Zidane gets a hand to it, but it's a weak hand, and he can't tip it away from the far post. They're so poor, Algeria. So disappointed with them, and I think at 2-0 this game's done.
He looks like a small keeper, doesn't he? When he's diving across there, he's like a midget, isn't he? I'm not being funny, but do you know what? If I've got a keeper with a small body, I want him to have long arms. I don't know if I'm being super harsh there, because the ball comes through bodies. Listen, his teammates had 2 or 3 chances to clear their lines there, and they didn't do it, Luke.
Yeah, look, he's been so short by the defenders in front of him. Their complete inability. Yeah, their complete inability to clear the ball away is really poor. But I hate to say this, but at a World Cup, I just don't think you can start a goalkeeper who's finished 14th in the second division with Granada. I don't think you can. I don't think there are many teams in the World Cup who would start a goalkeeper like that. And does he start because his name's Zidane? I don't know. I'd like to think not. but there's an argument to be made because his performances at the World Cup have been poor. I don't think there's too much you can do with that goal, in fairness, but
I just know a bigger keeper saves it, that's all.
Yeah, Thibaut Courtois saves that, and that might sound crazy to say because Thibaut Courtois is arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, but he does save it. David Raya saves it. Alisson saves it.
I think
Verbruggen saves it.
I think Kobel saves it.
Kobel probably does save it. Yeah, there's plenty of goalkeepers that would save it. Yeah,
but that's just it. There are plenty.
Yeah,
and I
think you're right.
Your archetypal 6'3" saves it, and he's not that.
No.
You know, he's a smaller fella, and he got a hand to it, but a bigger fella gets across.
Both his centre halves are taller than him.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's that thing, you know. Honestly, when you're at school, you're playing against a team that got a small keeper. You think, right, you're going to chip him, and you know sometimes those games just end up being dead easy, don't they? I'm sure he's a terrific goalkeeper. I'm sure he's great at five sides as well. As Bengali gets forward now, he's a cut back. He's good. The shot comes in. It's blocked away by Akanji, and then eventually, or is it Zakari? I don't know who it is, but ever they get the plaudits there. I thought that was going to be one back, but when you're gifted opportunities like that, you've got to take advantage, and they couldn't quite do that. Bengali there making a good break forward. Mazid down at the minute, and will a chance to bring Luke in and tell us what he thinks about that last attack for Algeria.
Yeah, it's promise. It's certainly promise, but again, when you get those chances you just said, John, you've got to take them, and you expect Riyad Mahrez to take that chance there on his left boot. But he scuffs the shot. You can see he kicks it into the ground, and it means that he doesn't get the pace to beat Dennis Zakaria. It's a case of the defenders in the right place at the right time, but better from Algeria. They show signs, but again, I have no confidence in them scoring. I can't believe Guiri wasn't brought on at half-time. There's not a striker. There's not a striker on the pitch for him. And so you're relying on someone like Mahrez to pop up in that occasion and strike the ball well first time. I don't know. Like I said, it's better. I'll take the positives, and you know, we'll see if Algeria can continue that. But they probably had to at least challenge Kobel from there.
Yeah, just saw Riyad Mahrez having words with Ben Sebaini, just grabbing him there. They're just being quite forceful what he wanted to say. But anyway, now's not the time for that. They need a bit of togetherness. But the ball breaks to Vargas now. Ball back on his inside is pretty terrible. Look at that though. Okay, you know, they're back defending, but every single last man jack of them are inside their own half for Algeria. Ball now looking for Dan and Doy, headed away by Ryan Nouri, and then Chaibi back to him. He just dumps it clear. I think there's a bit of anger in that clearance. That's how you clear a ball. Akanji then just shoving the back there, but referee eventually gives it. Well, because he stood in the centre circle and happened near him, he actually saw that one, and Zarouki pushing it back on Akanji.
Yeah, it's an easy free kick for him to give in that position. Algeria have really got to make sure they don't get frustrated now. It's bad enough that they're 2-0 down. 2-0 down and frustrated, it becomes 3 or 4 pretty quickly. And you lose all chance of getting back in this one. They've got to remain resolute. They've got to stick to the game plan, and they've got to hope that they get the slice of luck they need to get themselves back into this one. But the last thing they need is to start going around giving needless free kicks away and getting more and more frustrated.
Yeah, I think more likely that they end up a man down and 3-0 here. Another ball across looking for Mansambi. Didn't quite reach him from Dan and Doy on that right hand side. But anyway, the game really opening up now. It's breakneck pace as Mahrez sweeps the ball out to his left hand side. Opportunity for Chaibi to get on his bike, but Ndoye gets back and shows you how hard you need to work. One thing about most of the guys in the Premier League, you know, that you've got to work. There's nowhere to hide, is there? Anyway, Rodriguez wins his heading duel, and now Bengali will just allow Riyad Mahrez to throw. Camera lingers on Ndoye for a second. I think that he was suffering a little bit of a crisis of confidence coming into this World Cup. He'd not had a full season, found it difficult. He is a good player, though, we all know that at best, and maybe that goal will just push him on. Everything that they've wanted to work is working. And then another thing to the manager, Murat Yakin started this tournament off without Manzambi. He didn't quite know who his best right back is. Is it Undoy? Is it Sounder right? He's worked it all out. But the things that have worked out in the tournament have all worked out. You know, oftentimes we see a team that's a work in progress. He's done a great job in bringing it all together and getting the best out of what he's got.
Yeah, I mean, international football is about keeping it simple, isn't it? There's no point trying to recreate a Pep Guardiola system when you've got, 2 months together over the course of the season. No, you keep it simple, and that's exactly what Murat Yakin has done with Switzerland. You've got one attacking fullback on one side with Ricardo Rodriguez. You've got another who's pretty defensive in Dennis Zakaria. You've got two box-to-box midfielders in Xhaka and Freuler who can keep the ball ticking. You've got two quick wingers who are happy to cross the ball and also happy to come in on either foot and have a strike towards goal. And then you've got a big man or a typical number 9 through the middle who will get himself into dangerous positions. So yeah, they're set up perfectly for international football. That's surely got to be a free kick on Dan and Dory there. Indeed it is. Maybe on paper you go and say, oh, Remo Freuler maybe getting on a little bit, or Manuel Akanji not quite the player he was before, Dennis Zakaria playing slightly out of position, but it all works together perfectly because it's a really simple system that they can all buy into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not rocket science, is it? But they're linking up pretty well. They're back on the ball again. I feel Algeria's frustration right now. It's like the harder they work, the less it works for them. They're closing down in 1s and 2s, not like a team. We've seen a little bit more pressure from them now. And then Awad just backs off it. There's always another body for Switzerland to find. The harder they work Algeria, the worse it gets for them, and I feel we could see somebody getting sent off. I feel their frustration right now. And for Switzerland, the game seemingly coming a that bit easier. Manzambi on the ball now. It's a decent ball out to Vargas, left-hand side. And again, for Murat Yakin, he'd be thinking, yeah, this is good. He won't need to change anything, will he? Rodriguez there picks up the ball. Akanji into midfield. Granit Xhaka options. Rodriguez again. Now Manzambi left-hand side, and trying to get the run. This time it's a much better challenge. Belgali there, much more aggressive in what he wanted to do. Wasn't going to be dictated to. And that was good from him. Really spirited stuff from the full-back there. I think he's played quite well. Obviously, when they got to the byline, it was on his flank, but actually for the goal, the first goal, you know, when Manzambi took it on, it was taking it past Mandy, the centre-back, who got beaten to the byline. Anyway, Switzerland 2, Algeria 0, 57 minutes on the clock. And some misbegotten time in the morning we are, which I've just seen the sun come up. But I've got to say that the football is exciting enough to keep me awake. I'm just wondering for Algeria if this round was a step too far. It looks like it right now. I can't see them getting back in the game. But never say never. I was thinking the same thing about Belgium against Senegal the other day, and of course they ended up winning it, didn't they? But anyway, foul in the middle of the park. But Granit Xhaka accepts the hands that's offered to him by Mazza.
We will do, because it's another needless free kick. It's one of those where it's just like, oh, the player's too good for me. I'm just going to bring him down from behind. You mentioned Belghali's played well. I tell you why Belghali looks like he's played well, because he's the only one seemingly who can keep up with the rest of them. That everybody else in a white shirt is chasing shadows, and that's why Remo Freuler's been able to drive forward from deep. And Doy, was he fouled there in midfield? He wasn't. Play continue. Here's the chance.
Yeah, Vargas then, he beats the first man. Can he get his shot in? He drives it, and right across the face there. And Bolo's saying, mate, just tip it to me, I'm going to tap it in. Vargas there, I think under pressure like that, I think you try and hit the ball hard. He certainly did that. Great work from Ndoye to get it to him. Maybe 3-0 would flatter them a little bit. What's he doing with that
He's
ball?
fired it across, hasn't he? Just thinking all Mbolo will need to do is get a touch on it. But actually, don't worry about how much power that Mbolo's going to be able to get on the ball. He's from close range, it'll be fine. Yeah, not great delivery in, but really nice play from Vargas nonetheless. Changes now afoot for Algeria. I'm just trying to make out who it is that's come on. It's Aguirre's one of them, which we expected. So it's Zaruki and Alwat who've gone off.
And
Aguirre's one of them, and Hajam's the other, the number 13. Yeah, another player who plays his football in Switzerland. He plays for Young Boys, though. Does Joam Hajam, which is another connection between these two.
Well, maybe if he'd play with the older lads, he might be starting. Anyway, that's my dad joke for today. Anyway,
you can tell it's gone 5 in the morning.
Switzerland 2, Algeria 0. Guiri on then for Zaruki, who was like a ghost striker. I mean that in all respects in the first half. In fairness to him, he was trying to break into the box, and a couple of times he did. It's just the ball never met him while he was there. Guiri is a good player, but he started in the tournament before without necessarily getting a kick, and I think he played in their opening fixture without showing too much promise. I mean, Guiri, but we know he's a decent player. Anyway, Switzerland 2, Algeria 0, and we're closing in on an hour of the game being played. I think the game is pretty much going the way I thought it would. I think I expected Algeria to make a better fist of things. I thought Switzerland would be too good, and then I thought to myself, well, it's probably because I've seen a lot of Switzerland in the tournament, and somehow you get that familiarity with the players, and you say, oh, he's good, you know, you do all that. I know that there are still some weak links, Zakaria being one of them, but he's just beaten 2, and here he goes, the midfielder over the halfway line. He wants to score all by himself. This would be the goal of the tournament if he makes it, but he peels off to the right hand side, and Bola puts a ball in that's blocked away, and Ben Sebaini and Bentaleb going crazy there. Zakaria beats 2, and everybody just burns away from him, and I thought he was going to shoot them for a second.
Yeah, the space just opened up, doesn't it? And I think that's where the frustration comes from for Nabil Bentaleb. He's just saying, how on earth have we allowed that to happen? But it's the danger they've now got, Algeria, and it's the benefit that Switzerland have got. Anytime they soak up a little bit of Algerian pressure, they know the space is going to be in behind for a counter-attack, which is what they're set up to do. So they're going to have to stay switched on here, Algeria.
Rodriguez, the corner kick comes in, it bounces through the box, it curls and spins and goes straight out. 3-0 would kill it stone dead, wasn't it? I just think they've got half an hour to make good, and probably a little bit longer. You know how long? Well, the first game it took, what was it, 109 minutes on the clock when eventually we shuffled off. But you know, so there's plenty of time. You know, they look desperate now, Algeria, like they're out. Like they can't get back in. I don't believe them. I don't believe the body language that they've got. But I don't believe that they've given up this soon. It looks to me like they're just too desperate at the minute, and they could. Well, they're going to take this hydration break and use it as a timeout because they need it when it comes. At the moment, though, there's a few minutes before they can get through even to that stage where they can regroup. And at the moment, they look like a busted flush. Anyway, Switzerland all over them at the minute, on the ball, dominating play, playing through the lines. That's a poor ball from Granit Xhaka, not his first today either. The ball with Massa trying to thread the through ball for his striker, and they do have a striker on now, Guiri on. Guiri. The ball breaks nearly for Danendoy. Such a good attempt at a pass this time from Granit Xhaka, nearly. So used to seeing him making those passes stick, though. I think he does look tired. Maybe you know, an extra day's break or so would be a godsend to him. Back-to-back football coming too quickly, and in trapdoor football you need the best players, don't you? There's no way that they could drop him or anything, or give him a rest or whatever. As Maris on the ball, who was brilliant last time around, quiet this time around. Another one who probably can't play twice a week.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Granit Xhaka can't play twice a week, then Riyad Mahrez certainly can't, given the standard of football that he's playing at the moment over in Saudi Arabia. I'll break off because the ball's come the way of Algeria. Yeah,
Guiri had it second. Chaibi, though, picks it back up, and now Ryan Nouri looking for another ball in. Elvedi slams it clear. Load of time for Mbolo, and he's told he's got loads of time. Is anybody going to challenge him? Any given point? Anyway, he's got all day there. Ball slightly behind Vargas. He picks it back up. And then with Manzambi, who had gone a little bit quiet. That can happen with the youngsters. Anyway, he's on the ball, gets rid of it to Vargas. And then Rodriguez playing keep ball now, Switzerland. Akanyi takes a little touch, Mazza doesn't get to him, and he can go all the way back to his keeper. We haven't mentioned Kobel's name too often. He now decides to go along. Vargas with the header back on his inside, and Bentaleb back all the way back to his centre back Mandy, and now he picks up the ball. But this game's gone a bit lifeless now. I think Algeria have packed their bags.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland are toying with them, aren't they, really? Every time they get the ball, they take it at the walking pace, and they know that they're going to be under no real pressure, and they don't have to expend the energy. You said maybe is the football coming too thick and fast for Granit Xhaka? Well, it is worth remembering they are playing a midfield double pivot of a 33-year-old Granit Xhaka and a 34-year-old Remo Freuler. There's a few players in this Swiss side who aren't spring chickens anymore. I'll break off, they're on the attack again.
Yeah, Vargas then, his ball in, comes off Mandy's out for a corner kick. So again, it looks more like the Swiss get 3 than Algeria get 1 back. And like I said, they're all getting on each other's nerves. They're all pointing fingers at each other. We saw that in the first hydration break, didn't we? Riyad Mahrez and his manager didn't seemingly see eye to eye. Well, Vargas has the ball way out the quadrant, so nobody's bothering. One hand in the air, whatever that means. And then he's... oh, somebody's bothering. How could the referee see that from there? Anyway, that's a joke. But Vargas doesn't care because he's just bought another half a second there. Nearly a flick on at the near post, not quite. And eventually there's a little foul. Mahrez will take the free kick. Helvedi there... being a naughty boy, not quite sure what he did, but the camera lingered on him, so I'm assuming it's him. As Ainouri makes no ground, ball goes backwards, and again Algeria a chance to regroup. I said they were packing their cases already, but they've got to unpack them and get going here. Belgali, who's going to light the fuse for this big comeback? Don't look obvious there. They're all walking now when they need to be running. You know, they're on the ball, but everybody's knocking off and taking a break. Ryan Nori now, he rolls it backwards, and honestly, it's like a sulk. Anyway, the ball with Mandy, and then out to Mahrez. Can he provide that bit of brilliance? He rolls it to the byline, so close to putting his man in there. Close, but no cigar, I'm afraid. And in the end, just not his day today.
There was a moment there when Nabil Bentaleb had the ball 30 yards out from goal, wanted to play it into Guiri, and in the end he was forced to move it out wide, didn't think the pass was on. And Bentaleb saying to Guiri, you've got to come short, and then Guiri saying, no, you've got to thread the needle. If that doesn't sum up Algeria in this game, I don't know what does. Complete miscommunication. You've got some players saying, go on, play a world-beating pass. Other players saying, no, come on, let's be sensible. Let's try and build up. And it's just... what it's culminating in is some really, really sad football to watch. This is, I would argue, my least favourite type of football, when teams just go from side to side to side at walking pace, and the ball is just not going anywhere.
Everybody looks so frustrated.
They do. It looks like it genuinely looks like they're trying to kick a football through a wall. That's what they're trying to do at the minute, and it's obviously just not going to happen. It's almost like they're trying to kick a football through the wall, and then they're looking at the balls, shocked that it's come back to them, and so yeah. They're incredibly frustrated. I feel for the Algerian fans in the crowd. It looks like there's quite a few as we head towards second hydration break.
I think that hearts get broken when they set up like a 4-6, right, to start with, and you concede early. Well, the game plan was to keep it tight and nick one. Your game plan's out the water after 10 minutes. Then you think, how can we get on the front foot? We're playing without a striker, and then he goes into second half still without a striker, and you're thinking, come on, before you know it, you're 2-0 down, and then you put your striker on, and then everybody knows, well, hang on, it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, So whether all his team bought into the tactics of keeping it tight, it didn't look like they did, and it didn't look, as you mentioned, like players like Chaibi knew where they were supposed to play. So if they were supposed to be fluid, he had Zerouki making runs forward, but then nobody found him. So he was doing what he was told to do. Yeah, you're a ghost 9 or whatever, but they couldn't find him, and then they all get back defending, but nobody knows what they're doing. And second goal, they couldn't clear their lines. And you just think it's a red-hot mess. So their manager, did they all buy into what he was doing to start with? Did they all really know what they were supposed to be doing? And then secondly, sometimes you're just going to get beaten anyway. But if you're going to get beaten, you want to get beaten playing a shape which gives you some semblance. Let's play football, one of those, not counterintuitive, let's block away and hope for the best and keep it tight, maybe we get penalties, that kind of thing. Anyway, hydration break going on at the minute. So I don't believe those Algerian players believed the formation that they were playing with in the first place. I don't think all of them bought into it. I don't think all of them knew exactly what was expected of them. And that's down to your manager, isn't it? And so they get to this point at 2-0 down. It just doesn't look like there's any way back for them.
No, it certainly doesn't. I get the feeling there'll be a few in Algerian colours this evening who will be sat there thinking to themselves, thank goodness for Sasha Kalajdzic in that final group stage game, because otherwise they'd have been playing Spain rather than Switzerland. And I think if this Algerian side gets put up against that Spanish side, as we saw earlier against Austria, it was 3-0 at full time. It could have been 3-0 by half time against this Algerian side. They're just a step below some of these players. And
wow.
Yeah, just about to bring you in, John, and saying you can tell that Switzerland are comfortable on this one because no Roquefort's coming on. And as you said earlier on, Murat Yakin, not a big fan of no Roquefort.
No, they'd had a falling out. I think here, that's telling me how comfortable he feels about it. Maybe Okafor had some kind of injury. It's really clever from the manager, whether he likes him or not. Rida is the other player coming on, and Vargas and Manzambi going off. I think there's a little nod there. Manzambi is a youngster. He's gone a little bit quiet second half, but also it's saying, right, I want him in cotton wool because he's key. And Okafor, if you could get him going, it's right. So he's saying, I mean, maybe I don't like him, but he's in my squad, and so I'm gonna give him a little trial here, 20 minutes, and show me what you can do. Fabian Rida was the other one. There's a couple of changes now. Haji Moussa is one of those. The other plane coming on is Boudaoui, who we'd already seen in the tournament. I think he played the first game. Looks like Bentaleb and Mahrez going off. So Haji Moussa comes on. Doesn't look like he's thrilled to be there. Like I said, I'd already seen Boudaoui. So two of the older men leave off because now they need vitality. And I mean, you could have forgiven him for making 3 or 4 changes there and just absolutely ripping it up. But anyway, they've got work to do. Belgali down the right-hand side, he's been an outlet and constant thorn in the Swiss flesh there. But Okafor gets back. The Leeds man, then there's a poor challenge. And
he's not even touched the ball yet.
Well, he's touched a man though, hasn't he? And Granit Xhaka brought tumbling to the ground, screaming, holding his left leg. Well, here's a man who wants to go to Chelsea. He didn't want to be chopped down like that, does he?
Not a good tackle.
No, he's really late there, isn't he?
Yeah, it's knee on knee, isn't it, from Boudaoui. As I said, not even touched the ball, nor the yellow carded. That's going to be a really painful one for Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, but do you know what? He's healthy enough to scream at the referee about this or that. Boudaoui has picked the yellow card, and Hitcham Boudaoui. Anyway, yeah, we're more than 3/4 through now, aren't we? So Switzerland 2, Algeria 0. It's going to be Luke to take us through to full time. At a certain point, Granit Xhaka might cheer himself up there, but I doubt it. I hope he doesn't go looking for revenge, which oft times he does. But he'd do well to just strolling through the game today. He doesn't need to get booked, does he? 150th cap, by the way, for the captain today, but that's Charles' play, isn't it? Because we'd already seen Luka Modric and Ronnie playing today, and Ronaldo's 250 and Luka Modric is over 200. So yeah, little thumbs up for 150. No big deal.
Yeah. It's not a bad record, is it? Playing 150 times for your nation, I wouldn't have minded playing 150 times for England, put it that way. Long ball sent over the top, looking towards the substitute Reader in behind there, flicked on by Noah Okafor, but cleared away well in the end by Belgali. Chance now maybe for Mazza to be played in behind. You've got to give him a chance, haven't you? Crikey, mate, that was fired towards the youngster and straight through to the feet of Gregor Kobel. You know what? 28 years of age, has still probably got, what, maybe a couple of World Cups left in him, at least one. As a goalkeeper, could still end up playing at this level till he's 36, but I certainly think at 28 years old, one of the more underrated goalkeepers in the world. We were discussing, weren't we, earlier on off air about the lack of quality in goalkeepers around the world at the moment. He's certainly not one of those who's lacking in quality. I'll break off because here's a chance now for Dan and Doyle to play the ball in. Okafor was looking, cleared away by Belgali. Oh, and then cleared off the line. Second strike from Reader. I think that time it was Ben Sabini who got it clear. Still the chances there though. With Xhaka in possession, although he's gone back to halfway for Manuel Akanji. That was a good chance, and when you talk about Noah Okafor not getting on with manager Murat Yakin, if he can get a goal this evening, he'll put himself right back in the good books.
Yeah, I mean, he's already nicked a ball off Belgali, chasing back. Okafor had a pretty good season with Leeds. He not always necessarily started, but I think grabbing a goal or two, and I think being fairly active on the ball. He looks like a Premier League player. I would say that he's got that about him, that cut and thrust, and obviously an eye for goal. So he'd had a decent season.
He got a couple at Old Trafford, did he not? Or at least he scored at least once.
He sure did.
Yeah, and so if there's one way to endear yourself to Leeds United fans, that's getting a goal at Old Trafford. Bit of defending for him to do now. Down the near side, him and Ricardo Rodriguez do well to deal with Anis Hadj Moussa, the 24-year-old Feyenoord attacker. Spent time with likes of Vitesse Arnhem, came through the Lens Academy in France. 18th cap for Algeria this evening. Only got the 2 goals though so far for his country. Will be hoping for more to get his side back in it. Corner swung in, it's not a bad one. Cleared away well though by Ricardo Rodriguez in the end, and there's a chase on here. Reader trying to put pressure on Lucas Zidane, although the goalkeeper does well to launch back into Swiss territory. Headed forward by Mbolo, gathered down the near side by Baldoui. And then challenge comes in from Ricardo Rodriguez there on Hadj Moussa, and Switzerland have the ball back once more. 76 minutes on the clock in Vancouver this evening. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Switzerland 2, Algeria 0. Here come the Swiss searching for more. Reader driving through the midfield. Oh, that's not a bad-looking ball towards Mbolo. Crucial foot in there from Aissa Mondi to get the ball cleared away. Otherwise, that was almost certainly 3-0 with Mbolo bearing down one-on-one with Lucas Zidane. Still, though, Algeria in this, but just about. Goal needs to come soon if they're going to have a chance of equalising late on. Although Belgium will tell you can leave it as late as possible before getting yourselves back into the game. Near side now, it's with Anis Hadj Moussa. Doubled up again by Okafor and Ricardo Rodriguez. Hadj Moussa away from Okafor. Rodriguez holds him up well. Baldoui into Hadjum. Hadjum now over onto the far side for Aït-Nouri. He will go with a right-footed effort towards goal, and that's comfortably over the crossbar and out of play for a goal kick. I know I said they need a goal soon, John, but they're not that desperate yet, surely.
No, they're not, but do you know what? When Belgium scored their goal, it was that late, wasn't it? That Lukaku scored, and then he did that thing trying to nick the ball to the goalkeeper, and the goalie kept hold of the ball. And I thought, even Lukaku doesn't really believe that, otherwise he'd be fighting for the ball. As Granit Xhaka's getting himself involved. This time with Belgali, but I'd be thinking, if I'm Murat Yakin, maybe about thinking taking his skipper off. The last thing he wants to do is get carded here and get stupid, and he can do. He can't help himself. He's a weak link in that respect, and the older he's got, you'd like to think he's got a bit mature, but he can still get dragged into a little fist fight.
I think he has got a mature, Granit Xhaka. There was that time first few years at Arsenal, it was a walking red card, wasn't he? Even some really daft decisions. But I think he has gotten much maturer with age, as you'd expect, and yeah, a much more reserved player. I'll break off because Reeder's made a decent run through midfield. He's now looking for Ndoye over on the far side. In no real rush to keep it in because Mbolo's still down on the floor, so nobody making a run into midfield, but into the middle, I should say. Sorry, Mbolo now back on his feet and wants the ball off of Granit Xhaka, who will fire it onto the near side for Rodriguez. He then tries to play down the line for Okafor, caught off guard, and it'll be gathered in the end by Belgali. Trying to get it cleared down the near side, does well to feed Mazza. He surely fell from behind there by Granit Xhaka, indeed he is. And that'll be a free kick for Algeria. For Algeria. A reminder, the winner of this tie will go on to face either Colombia or Ghana. Game will be played on July the 7th, as will the game between either Argentina, Cape Verde, Australia or Egypt, which will of course be decide who plays in the quarter-final. Between one of Switzerland, Algeria, Colombia or Ghana. It looks like it'll be Switzerland playing in that round of 16 tie against either Colombia or Ghana. I think we're both in agreement that Colombia probably go into that tie as favourites, and you'd imagine it's going to be a Switzerland-Colombia round of 16 tie.
That would be a hell of a game.
It will.
Colombia are decent, aren't they? There's no doubt that Diaz is an absolute top player. Suarez scores goals, doesn't he? And they've got James Rodriguez, who still gets it done. So here's half a chance here for Switzerland. The ball breaks down. Wow. Well, and Mbolo leaning back there, and that ball's still coming down.
Yeah, he's a poacher for a reason. He doesn't get goals from outside the penalty area. Breel Mbolo, not a great effort from him. We've got a bit of a problem here for Rafik Belgali, who is hobbling around the field as we speak, and I think with one change left to be made for Vladimir Petkovic, he is going to have to take him off because he doesn't look in a good way, Belgali, at all.
Bulbina's coming on, I think, and just fresh legs, but they just look absolutely busted, don't they? Algeria they've livened up in the last 5 minutes or so, but they're just not creating anything really. Sometimes you hold your hands up and say, look, they just weren't good enough. No matter what formation, no matter what they were trying to do, it's just not worked out today.
He can't move here, Belgali. This is really not nice to see at all. Switzerland trying to move it down the near side, but they can't get away. They can't make it stick. And in the end, well, it didn't look like the referee was about to blow for a foul there on Haj Musa. Play on continues. Zakaria now moving down the far side, cross into the box. This is three. How's he missed? How on earth has Reeder missed? He just kicked it straight at Lucas Zidane. The goal was gaping from 3 yards out, and he's kicked it right at the goalkeeper. Unbelievable. The change is now going to be made.
It would have been easier to score. It would have been easier. It would have been easier to score than what he just did.
It's terrible.
Do you know what it is? If he comes in and hits that with his left foot, it's a side foot into the back of the net.
And he does kick it with his left boot, and he still messes it up.
I was thinking he must have hit that with his right, because there's no way that you should be missing from there. It's a side foot tapping, and then he puts the ball right back on the inside for the keeper. Wow. I mean, he could even have taken the touch then. Keeper's nowhere to be seen. How is that not 3? Anyway, it'll still keep him awake tonight, that.
Only ever scored the 1 goal for his country, Fabian Reeder, and that he'll never get a better opportunity to make it 2. As John's just said, Bulbina's just come on for Belgali. Probably not the change at this stage of the game that Vladimir Petkovic would have wanted to make, but he couldn't run. Well, I say couldn't run. He couldn't walk, Belgali, and it'd been unfair to keep the 24-year-old on the pitch.
I think he's been their best player as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's kept on going. Defended staunchly, he's been good. Now change being made for Switzerland, and Breel Mbolo gets a good round of applause then, because he's managed it at the back of the net, doing what a good striker does, putting himself in amongst the muck and bullets, getting goal side, scraping the ball in, and that was what set them on their way. And like I said, when a team set up to defend, to concede that early, really puts a spanner in the works, if you like. Amdouni, the player who's coming to replace him.
Yeah, he's an odd player, Zeki Amdouni. Still at Burnley. I'm yet to really work out what his best position is. He spent the season.
He's a generic attacker, isn't he? You work it out, I don't know.
No, I've got no idea. He's listed as a striker come attacking midfielder. I always seem to think I quite like him when he plays, but he's an enigma, shall we say?
For me, right, he's the Jordan Ayew. You know, there's a good footballer in there, but quite what he does. Whenever you watch somebody like that, you think, yeah, he's got skill, but does it work into goals or does it work out in assists? Not necessarily, does it?
No, it doesn't. Really, really odd one. He's got 11 goals for Switzerland, though, in 30 caps, which is really not a bad record at all.
No, it's good.
Especially at international level, so not too many complaints can be had for him there. But at some point, given he's 25 years of age, he will want his career to kick on because it feels like it's stagnated in the last few years or so. As Algeria have the ball back once more with Baldawi in midfield. Gets forward and plays it over onto the far side now for Rayan Nouri. Back into the middle of midfield now for Hajam. Across the halfway line for Issa Mondi. Ball down the line for Anis Haj Musa. One-on-one with Ricardo Rodriguez, cuts in his left boot, tries to link up with Hajam inside the penalty area, but the pass is overhit. It's just bounced out of play for a goal kick. Got a problem over on the far side now for Dennis Zakaria by the looks of things. This doesn't look great. I think he's just having a word with the referee here.
I tell you what, the referee keeps poking players in the chest. He done that to Granit Xhaka before, like 2 or 3 prods into players' chest. I don't think he believes Zakaria. And so, the play will stop. There's some very gloomy Algerian faces, and we've all been there, haven't we? You hope for the best. Oh, just think if they could do this or do that, but just not been their day. They conceded early. That was not what the game plan required. It needed them to dig in and probably take it to the break at 0-0, and then work it out from there. But they've always been behind it.
Yeah, they have, and then it's not helped at 2-0 down. You've got centre-half screaming it forward to go press the ball as Manuel Akanji rolls his foot across it 6 times. I think there's a few in Algerian colours this evening who I think have taken playing at a World Cup for granted and haven't quite put the shift in that they really ought to have done given the stage. I find that incredible with certain footballers that I've seen over the course of this tournament who have almost played in a World Cup games as if it's a given. There was a few in Uruguayan shirts who were guilty of doing that, and I've been mightily disappointed with that. I have to say that's a foul there on Baldawi in the midfield, as there's a couple of changes ready to be made, and I think those changes are now going to be made by Switzerland. Erbashir is one of those players, although they're shouting over to the referee as if saying, why have the changes not been made? And very quickly, here come Algeria on the attack. This will be controversial if Algeria go to score here. No, the challenge came in the end on Guerri. It's been cleared out of play for a throw-in over on the far side, and now the changes can finally be made. So Dan Ndoye is going to go off. He got his goal, the goal that I feel properly killed this one off, and off goes the injured Dennis Zakaria. They've held up the wrong numbers there because it said the number 3 was in red, and the number 3 is not going off. It's the number 6 that's going off, and it's Sylvain Vidma, the number 3, that's coming on. But we'll let the 4th official off. It's late at night.
I'm not letting him off. Anyway, Vidma comes on. And Abishu, I think I'm pretty sure I saw him in the first game. I think probably Vidma too. I think it's been a bit of a masterclass, to be honest, from Murat Yakin today. I think throughout the tournament, it's just displayed what good common sense is about. A bunch of lads. He's tried to keep them all involved up to a point. He's tried different formations. He discards what doesn't work. They go again. He takes another look at it. I thought that maybe he'd taken his bat and ball on with Okafor, but he's even playing today. Maybe he'd had an injury problem, just nursing him into the tournament. He's a decent player. So you know, if you're a manager, you live or die. You can't fall out with your squad players, really. Even though Okafor had said things in the past. Here, a ball into the box, the keeper makes a save. But anyway, the ball had gone out for a corner. He's moaning there. Coble keeping himself warm there, 'cause he's had nothing to do.
Yeah, he hasn't had anything to do. The flag finally goes up. They're absolutely furious there with Switzerland, because as that ball came in, I'm just trying to work out who is it. Was it Amin Gouiri who'd run needlessly offside? No, it's I think that's actually is that Bulbina over on the far side? I'm not sure. I can't quite work out who it is over at the back post who's needlessly ran offside. It was Bulbina, and the ball was flung in by Haj Musa towards him, and that's why Coble made the awkward save. And they were incensed that the flag took a while to go up, but it did eventually go up, so no corner given. Free kick instead for the offside. We are ticking ever closer towards the 90th minute mark. I'm hoping that we don't see too much added on time at the end of this one, because I'm not being funny. Algeria don't want to keep playing. They look like they've given up. They gave up after the hour mark, to be totally honest. And well, Switzerland don't need the extra minutes in the legs. Let's be honest, at this stage of the evening, as Vidma will chip one down the line over on the far side, looking towards Amdouni.
It always surprises me when we see a team who just give up. I feel like if they can't believe it, nobody's going to believe it, and they clearly didn't. Weirdly, we did a game last season where Liverpool did that, and I just think whenever you see professional sportsmen who are playing to a standard just do that, I think it's got a lot to do with how they're set up and whether they believe what they're doing is right in the first place. You'll soon give up if you feel you're on the wrong tracks to start with. You know, if you don't take the bunch with you with the ideas that you've got, it's all it's like, oh, I'm going to impose this system on you. If nobody believes it, it pretty much isn't going to work. And we see that time and time again. So again, Petkovic here, he's done what he thought was right. But if you can't drag the team with you, if you can't make them believe, nobody will. And in the end, it's just not worked out. 6 minutes put on the board. The Swiss fans giving voice to that. Wasn't 10, could have been worse. And so they'll feel they're creeping towards victory.
I tell you what, we should have just seen a red card there. I think it's Amdouni skips away from a couple and then is hacked down from behind once he gets into the space by Chaibi, who's already on a yellow card. That, I think, is really bad from the referee. I think he knows that Chaibi's already on a yellow card and doesn't think there's much point in red carding him given the game's over. That's the second yellow card if I've ever seen one.
I tell you what, Algeria haven't been good. The referee's been as bad as Algeria.
Yeah.
Centre circle referee. But anyway, we'll break off. Here come Algeria.
Haj Musa near side trying to create the space. Why has he gone back down towards the byline? Created the space on his left boot there after he skipped away from Ricardo Rodriguez, but then just runs into Manuel Akanji. He tries to take on his right boot.
Nobody believes anything out of this team now. They've got one in the box, so your wingers look in and thinking, where is everybody? And nobody could be bothered. Gouiri's in there being marked, so that's why I have to go again. And they're just nowhere. There's no belief out of the team. And the Switzerland fans now swaying side to side. They're loving it. And, well, they nearly broke away again there. But, listen, 3-0 wouldn't flatter them, would it? I think it'd be fair. They've been dominant, Switzerland.
Yeah, they really have. Not sure that was a foul there from Reader, but the referee disagreed. They'll continue now as Mahrez tries to move down the far side. He's held up in the end. In fact, it's not Mahrez, it's Reynard. No, Mahrez has already gone off. You can tell it's nearly 6 in the morning, can't you? Long ball sent over the top is brought down well by Bulbina. Lovely touch from him, trying to get away from Vidma. Wants to cross into the box, does play across into the box. Here's Ibrahim Mazo, right-footed effort, blocked well by El-Vadi, further cleared by Reader, gathered by Amdouni, fouled there from behind by Baldoui, who is also on a yellow card, and potentially should have also been sent off for breaking up a counter-attack once again.
Yeah, well, maybe this referee hasn't got his cards with him. I don't know what it is, but he lethargic, and Algeria just the same. They've never got anything going. it's funny, and it's a bit of a truism really, but the European teams just seem to hold an advantage at the minute over African counterparts. Maybe that won't always be the same, but Belgium and England, after a fashion, coming through. It'll only be a question of time, won't it, really, before that turns around a little bit more. There always used to be talk of naivety, this, that and the other with African sides, but you know what, the gap between them and the Europeans has been closing for a while, but still there is a gap.
There is a gap. I do think it is massively closing though. No, this is the World Cup which has seen more African teams qualify for the group stage than any other World Cup before it. Only one African side failed to get out of the group stage on this occasion from Africa, and that was Tunisia. And my gosh, were they awful? They were dreadful. But we did see Morocco beat the Netherlands on penalties, yes, but they did get through against the Netherlands, and then they face Canada in the next round. So
I fancy them, and they're actually FIFA ranked 7 in the world, so
absolutely,
it's no surprise. When they played against Brazil, who were ranked 6th, I thought everybody seemed to be handing it to Brazil, and I played before ball was kicked there. I thought I won't be doing that, and they were terrific in that game. So. Yeah, they'd be the standard bearers, and of course Cabo Verde have surprised everybody, haven't they? But we shouldn't be that surprised either. They'd got a ridiculous FIFA ranking at one point, about 24 or something like that, 24th in the world, for the size of the place, the island. Anyway, here another opportunity. Switzerland trying to finish with the flourish, not quite.
Yeah, Amdouni with a lovely first touch after a great ball over the top. Is challenged brilliantly by Ben Sabani, who's done well to win the goal kick. I was saying I was covering the game between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uzbekistan in the final group stage games. I also did the Morocco game, and I feel like I echoed this point. I do think in my lifetime I will end up seeing an African side lifting the World Cup, which will be fantastic to see, because of course we've only ever seen winners from 2 continents, and that's Europe and South America. I'd like to see, that's a foul throw over on the far side. Well, that's a new one. I didn't think I'd be seeing foul throws given at the World Cup, but that's terrible from Bulbina, and yeah, that one is so bad that the referee had no choice but to give that as a foul throw. But yeah, I'd like to hope in my lifetime I get to see an Asian winner of the World Cup, a North American winner of the World Cup, and an African winner of the World Cup, maybe even an Australasian winner of the World Cup. That might be a step too far. Well, you never know, depending on the investment across the world. But I do genuinely think in my lifetime I will see an African team win the World Cup, whether that's Morocco in the next couple of World Cup cycles, whether that's a team completely from the unknown. We'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly not going to be Algeria on this occasion. We've got about 20 seconds left to go until full time. Switzerland have coasted through to the round of 16. They may even make it 3. No Roquefort inside the penalty area. Right-footed strike, been blocked well. Strike comes in from Remo Freuler on the rebound. Forces a half-decent stave out of Zidane. And that, you'd assume, will be that for the game in Vancouver this evening. Switzerland have controlled it from minute 1. A goal from Briel Mbolo, got the goal scoring going. But a second from Dan Ndoye right at the start of the second half has meant that Switzerland will cruise to the round of 16 to face either Colombia or Ghana. Convincing from the Europeans. Full-time, Switzerland 2, Algeria 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck!